Hey! Wow, the door's being held open for us. This is the Powerhouse. I'm Anthony Pago. We've talked before, actually. I'm the cat guy. I'm doing a vlog, so do you mind if I just like...
Not at all.
Cool. So you guys specialize in something?
Yeah. Well, we're known for our green chili pork verde. It's like a green chili pork stew, tortillas, it's got serrano, mozzarella cheese on top. It's a big hit. Everybody loves it.
Well, I'd like to put in an order if that's okay.
We can do that. I'll get you one. You want a cup or a bowl?
Let's do a bowl.
Got your cup?
Well, I heard there's peanuts.
Yeah, spicy New Mexican peanuts. We went all the way to Berkes, New Mexico to get the spicy peanuts. They're awesome.
All right. Hey, there's Brent. You want to say hi to the people on the vlog?
Hello, people on the vlog.
I've known this guy forever. Let's see, probably what, like 7th grade? Okay, yeah. Because we both went. Did you go to More West? Or you went? Okay. Oh, that looks so good. The pepper and everything in that. Oh god, yeah.
3 blocks away from us.
Some of the Fritos and stuff. And there's people walking in. It's getting busy. Yay! All right, it's time to eat.
Yeah, we're in the old original farmers market, just west of downtown Oklahoma City.
And the name of the business is?
And we are at the Powerhouse.
Who are you?
And I'm the owner, Clay Berkes.
What is your Instagram name?
It's a Powerhouse OKC.
Okay. And same thing for Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook I think is Powerhouse Bar.
Okay.
Maybe. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty. Can you open your shirt? That.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you spell it. Bam.
That's easy enough.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the history behind the name Powerhouse?
Well, yeah, you know, I'm from Oklahoma. I left. I was living on 32nd and Classen. I'm not from Oklahoma City, but I have a lot of roots, and you know, I lived here on and off for years. But in 2000, I was living on 32nd and Classen, and I moved down to Austin. I was there 13 years, so I was dying to get back home. So homesick. I was here as much as I could, and I loved Austin, but it was just, my time had come and gone there, So I, chose to move back to Oklahoma City, which was booming, and so moved back here. I bought a little house in Austin that ended up, when I bought it, it was North Austin, and then by the time I sold it 10 years later, it's like right in the middle of town,
right.
So I basically just, I didn't have much, and I never did, so I just, I was writing songs and bartending, slinging margaritas at a restaurant there on West 6th Street, over by Waterloo Records, and I just sold my house and decided I want to come back here, get back home, and open my own place. So I found a place over off in Uptown, and I got it rezoned through the city council. Got it rezoned to be a restaurant, in the course of that, a friend of mine told me about an attorney who was a friend of his, and named Bud Scott, and he's the development attorney, and he offices in the main building. But so I hired Bud to help me rezone that other location, and in the process, I just kind of Bud and I became friends, and then I met the owners, Bert and Jody McAnally, and they, at a certain point, even though I was kind of digging in over there at the other location, they asked me if I, would like to open a place here.
Wow.
And there was none of this was here. It was just just this small little shell of a building, and it really wasn't even a shell. I mean, it was partitioned, and there was, but there was no gas, no electric. There was nothing. There was a little bit of electric, a couple outlets maybe on that back wall, but as far as the name is concerned, I was saying, well, I had to make a decision first. So I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to open that place or this place?
Yeah.
And I would lay in bed at night, especially in the winter, when I was contemplating it, it was the winter time, and I would just think about this place like at 11 or o'clock at night or like at midnight, and I'd be like, there's not a soul down there.
Right.
It's so cold, no one's going down there, But I had to make a decision. I was running out of time and money, and so I decided to just do this.
Yeah.
So, the space has been used historically for several different things. It was a guard shack.
Wow.
So there was a wall, and then in the back area where the bar is, I basically found the desk, the guard desk, the wall of keys, to each place, each one of these places, and he would just go all night, in the middle of the night, and open them up, shine his light in there, and there were timers on the locks, and so they knew that he was not just back there sleeping, which he probably was. But so it was a guard shack. I do know in the 70s it was a potato distribution. It was a cooler too, so the whole space was a cooler.
Wow.
So the insulation was this thick everywhere.
Oh wow.
And I still have the giant cooler door, the wood ones this thick, So I do know also that in the 40s a family moved, who I'm trying to locate. I've just been so slammed, but a family relocated from Miami, Florida, and they took some sort of they basically, I think, moved their fruits and vegetable distribution to some degree to this building.
What?
So, and the reason I know that is because I saved every single piece of paper. There wasn't a lot here, but amazingly enough, I found a bunch of surprisingly, it hadn't been it had just been overlooked or hadn't been seen, but it was important to me, especially since I was rehabbing the space. So I found their old phone bills from Miami, and in the process of extracting all of the insulation, my buddy and I kicked down some boxes out of the ceiling, and in some of those boxes were actually 8mm reels of film.
What?
And they were dated with the family's name, and they were dated from the 40s. Because back then they had their two home addresses from here in the city, but back then you'd have to mail that stuff off to Chicago, to Kodak, to get it processed.
Yeah.
So that's having that. Because of that, I got their names and their addresses, to two places here in Oklahoma, two homes in Oklahoma City. One of the homes, I actually have the blueprints for the architectural renderings, and apparently they had that house built.
Wow.
So I took the film in, got it processed, not really knowing what I was going to see or find, and it was just basically home movies from the 40s of this family here in Oklahoma City.
Is that what's rolling up there on your screen?
Rolling up there.
That's incredible.
About 15 minutes, and there was an old cartoon that I typically play before feature films and stuff, and it was Wild Wild West days, and I must have been one of the original Woody Woodpeckers or something.
Wow.
So, and I need to get that on loop too, but it's just it's in queue with a bunch of other stuff, that we're trying to do. But but I do need to find that family. I actually went to one of the homes. It's over by the Capitol, and the entire block. I found the address, but that entire block is now it's a park that is dedicated to. I think it's one of the first African American Medal of Honor winners. But he was he was in Vietnam, and he served courageously and won the award. I think that's the award. It's been a while since but I went over there, and it's a park in his honor, which is great. And then I went to the other address, and there's nothing there. It's over by Hefner, but I did find the other house,
Right.
and I just haven't gone and knocked on the door and tried to like trace it back,
Yeah.
just kind of see, ownership or whatever. But I'm really looking forward to it, and I've been saying this for a while, but it is important. So it was a cooler, it was a guard shack, but this is a city street on Second. So what happened was, this farmers market district is almost 6 acres. So the city electric would come in, one of the main areas that it comes in, if not the main area, is right here. So it would come in right at that pole next to the powerhouse, and it would connect to this building. And so in the back of the building there were all of these giant fuse boxes and breakers and tiny ones and big ones and giant ones. And, if you disengage the fuses, most of the power would have gone off for the entire district.
Oh, wow.
So and it took me over a year to get that, offline, because, OG&E had to literally put in another power line over here. So I was working around this stuff for over a year, and it really
still all connected.
Yeah, it was still all connected, and you're just playing a waiting game with the city and with OG&E and stuff like that, But it was great when it finally went offline, and I didn't have to work around it anymore. They buried my service, and I just kind of extracted all that stuff like I did with every single thing here, and just had it in my workshop over here, and then got to reincorporate it. So the name, I didn't really, I was thinking about a bunch of, the Market Bar, or this and that, but it kind of was the Powerhouse, and it wasn't my first choice. Of course, I love it now, and it's not even it's just not even a thought or consideration, but it is that's what it was, it was the Powerhouse, so that's kind of, it was easy, it's just kind of what it was. So.
One of the bartenders I overheard, talking to somebody that's never been here before, that fuse boxes in the back of the bar still, right?
Yeah, so that big one that is the liquor display actually was right there on that wall. I mean, I moved it a little bit, took it all down, painted clean or whatever, and then I put that one back. But there were a couple that size, and the fuses, the bus fuses, the giant red ones that are underneath the bar, those were actually in it, in that very, breaker box, I guess. It's giant,
yeah, breaker box, yeah.
But yes, and I made lights out of some of the other fuse boxes, and like I said, just I had time to really think it through, because I did, I basically built the whole thing. I mean, I had an architect draw some stuff up for the city, but I mean, I sealed and painted. I moved the whole 18 tons of that crushed granite and road gray. I planted everything. I painted everything. I built these and these, and I mean, I was running out of, like I said, I was running out of time and money, and I started pricing, all the things you're like, oh, we'll open a place and it'll be great, and then when you start, it's like
filling everything in.
Yeah, it's like, oh, these tables are $200-300 a piece. Oh my God. I better make them.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to
make
them.
that. Oh wait, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just started doing it, and I'm a hack, but by the end, I mean, I was like, well, if this place doesn't work, hell, I have every tool I need. I could just be,
I'm a carpenter now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good one, but but yeah, I was like, well, but as far as the furnishing and the interior design and all that stuff, I did everything, but I had time. I didn't start and say this is what it's going to be like. That's what pros do. I was just like in it. So like every day I was like, okay, this works. I mean, trust me, I painted, the walls in there a dozen times before I found the right color, and stuff like that. So, but I mean, people didn't understand what I was doing either, because, I wanted to say, I knew what I want, but I did know what I wanted, and I wanted to save this, but it kind of, people scratched their head, I'd have painters or, different, you know, concrete guys and stuff, and they were like, oh no, we're going to redo this and it's going to look brand new. And I was like, no, we're not. No, I don't want that. And they didn't understand where I was coming from until it was done. And they're like, oh, I get it. I mean, but in doing so, it's really hard. It would have been a lot easier just to redo all the stucco and stuff. But I literally with you know, construction, you know, sealer and caulk, and, you know, my hands, I went over every inch of that building to seal it.
That's
that
awesome.
was hard to do, you know. I mean, sealing it was difficult, but, you know, if it's done right, it'll last for a long time. And see, and that's the other, you know, even though we're just in the shadow of downtown Oklahoma City, you feel like you're 1,000 miles away, you know. And so when I was telling the construction guy or telling the electricians, and when I was explaining where we were, no one had a clue where this was.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're like, "Are you sure?" I mean, we didn't even have an address here.
Oh, right.
When I started, we had it. Then we got one, and then they changed it right after that. So the address was even hard to look up, and so like that's a good example of it. Like people are really confused about what this is, and it's. And rightfully so, because, you know, they hear the farmer's market, they're like, well, where is the farmer's market? And, you know, it had gone kind of, even though you got Urban Agrarian and Matt over here, and you got the Pinata store, and of course you have Pam's, the nursery, you know, the farmer's market had kind of gone away. They brought it back about 6 months ago, so every Saturday in the main building they have a true farmer's market from 9 to 2, and it's been really great. You know, they're getting some traction and some steam. This place has helped, but we all kind of help each other. It's, you know, even the inspectors, they were like, how do you get here?
Yeah.
What is this place? You know, so I mean, you know, where is it? What is it? You know, but all the inspectors, honestly, they kind of dug it. You know, they're like, oh, I get this. This is really cool.
That's
you know?
cool.
Why didn't I think of this? You know,
Yeah.
and so, so it kind of had this Santa Fe type border town feel, and I've always liked to cook, you know, and I was limited by just the space that I have, you know, very limited as far as, you know, there's no vent hood, and it's just it's a small little area to work with back there. So I knew after I had to switch gears, you know, I was covered in glue, and my hands were broke up, and my back was hurting, and I was a wreck just trying to get this place.
Oh, you're okay.
I was a wreck just trying to get this place open. But, you know, and then the way it works is, you know, the next thing you know, you're open. So I had to, along the way, you know, I mean, I was, you know, coming up with drinks and menu ideas, you know, but I mean, almost instantly I had to, you know, switch gears from construction to, all right, let's run a business. So I knew I wanted simple, clean, easy to eat, easy to prepare, but quality and unique and tasty stuff, you know. And so that was kind of hopefully what I've achieved, you know. And when we first opened, I, you know, made January 6th, so couldn't have been a worse day to open, probably.
It's the coldest shit.
Yeah, I mean, cold, and it was snowy, and
beginning of the work year.
Yeah, after the holidays, but it sure was beautiful down here because we had this really beautiful snow for several months, and it just was, man, it was just so beautiful.